I'll say the statement that we say at the beginning of every meeting. This meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Biddulph Town Council YouTube page. The aim is that decision making should be transparent and in the public domain, which will involve more of our community and local democracy. By being in this council chamber, you are consenting to being recorded and for your image to be added to YouTube. The images and sounds may be used for training purposes. Any views expressed are the speaker's own and do not necessarily reflect the view of Biddulph Town Council. Please view the guidance on recording and public meetings policy if you need more information. Let us begin. Do we have any apologies and approval of any substitute members?
No substitute members, but we've got apologies from Councillor Smith, Eardley and Hopkins.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any declarations of interest and pecuniary interests? I'll just declare that I work for the university that I study as a part of, although it's got nothing to do with me, but I'd better. Have we got any other interests? Nope. Okey-doke. To sign the minutes of the town and community meeting held on the 16th of September. Is everyone all right for me to do that? Because he went through full council. All in favour? Marvellous. First, isn't it?
Yeah.
Received notes from the Biddulph Works Together meeting held on Wednesday, the 1st of November. Has everybody seen those? Is everyone all right with those? Want to raise anything? No? All in favour of receiving those? Marvellous, thank you. So I'm going to pass over to Sarah for item number 32, which is events update. So there are 4 events there: the consideration of remembrance activities, the chain reaction project, consideration of Christmas activities, and confirmation of the civic awards date. Over to you.
Thank you very much. I'll tag team with Jodie in the corner if that's all right. Okay, so A is consideration of remembrance activities. So the events working group met last week. We discussed many of these issues, and it's just to kind of bring our thinking to you. The road closure is in place for remembrance activities. The Road Hall Silver Band is joining us. I have met briefly with John Robinson last week to talk about the format of the event. We've talked about whether we ask the band to play during the brief service down at the cenotaph, and we've got some involvement of past and serving individuals this year, which will add a different dimension to it. The wreaths and the poppies are going out as usual, I believe.
Yeah.
The service, I hope, will be at Methodist Church. I think they're expecting us. And the refreshments will be provided by us and served by the fabulous ladies from the WI again. So very similar format previous years. Obviously this year we have the lovely town hall frontage available, so that will enable us to spread out a bit more there and try and organise everybody as much as possible. There we are.
Thank you. Councillor Rogers.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry I missed the meeting. I was out of town that day. Just on road closures, are we all right with manpower with road closures? Because we know we're struggling a little bit in the past. As in putting on road towns a bit and things like that.
I believe the Rotarians are supporting us.
Yes, but meeting not in.
Yep, so we're expecting support from the Rotarians, plus our Lanksman and his crew will help with that as well.
As long as it's on board with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, this bad problems with health and whatever with the road flood at one point.
I believe they're up for it.
Yeah, okay then. Okay,
Yeah.
then. Thank you.
Councillor Parks.
Yes, thanks very much, Councillor. So, just to say, it absolutely makes no difference to the day at all. But for the first time, or very rarely, does Biddulph get to be the host of what I would consider to be the main remembrance service. So I know that Tracy's already been in touch with Sarah. So purely from a personal point of view, I am attending the Biddulph one as the main one for SMDC, but it remains a Biddulph Town Council event. But it is going to be the primary one for the district as well that I will be attending. Because I want it to be in Biddulph, not in Leigh.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on that event?
Just
Councillor
I'll
Rogers,
come back
yeah.
on one thing. What input are we having at St Martin's this year, eh? At church?
I must speak to Councillor Harper. He usually attends that one and lays a wreath on our behalf, so we'll have a wreath for him for there.
You good? Okay, as long as, yeah.
If he's up for doing that again,
I
otherwise.
said was the other day, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to get him in the liquid, explain with the wreath on behalf of town council.
Yeah, I'm absolutely happy.
There you go, thank you.
Sorry, maybe I should declare an interest to say that I am not currently a member of the British Legion, but my mother is, because it's mum that organises all the wreaths
Yeah,
and stuff, so
okay.
I'll just declare that. Anything else on remembrance? No, chain reaction then.
Oh,
Declare
The conflict of interest of me because I'm the minister of the church of that.
we could make a
Yeah,
note.
we'll make it.
Just do.
No harm in.
Over declare.
Shannon. So chain reaction.
Yes, so we had a little bit of confusion about the Ride the Lights event, which just by way of reminder, the Chain Reaction Project is a lot of different organisations coming together with the overall ambition of increasing the number of people who take to their bikes within the Staffordshire Moorlands. So there's lots of people. The Move More team are involved, our lovely Social Connected team locally, the libraries, lots and lots of fabulous people. We have set Friday the 7th of November to be the Ride the Lights Day. The idea is that we'll meet at the Live Stream Church. They are our fabulous hosts for the evening, and that everybody will kind of, I can't say pimp your bikes, but that's essentially what we'll do. We're providing lights for everybody. We'll take a short ride down Borough Valley Way to Smokies Way car park, have some refreshment there, and then come back again. So encouraging people to get on bikes. There is an opportunity for people who don't have bikes to get hold of one beforehand. And that's through the Waste Savvy County Council. The purpose of that project is to take bikes that have been taken to the waste recycling centres and to find them new homes. They're doing 2 events at the Family Hub and the Youth and Community Zone, where people can take their bikes and be involved with an artist, which has been paid for by the outside team, and he will make people's bikes fabulous for that event. But some really lovely kind of wraparound activities going on there. Just a note about the kind of pre-loved bike event that we had, not this weekend, the weekend before. There were nearly 80 bikes that found new homes at that event. So we had a town hall that was full of bikes at the start. We all thought, crikey, we're going to be lucky here. But they took hardly any of them back. And there were some very, very happy faces. So I have said that I would have a conversation, but it seemed likely that that would be a project that we would want to support going forward. It's a really nice event. We would be the place within the north of the county that offered that activity as well. Just seems like a nice thing for us to be involved in. But we'll try and look at some dates, and then in the new year, when you kind of approve the dates for next year, which isn't that far away now, is it? Then we'll talk more about that. Really great event.
Councillor Garvey.
Thank you, Chair. It was just a comment on I said at the last meeting for the chain reaction, the yarn bombers knitted bikes, knitwear covered bikes can make a reappearance in the next couple of weeks if you'd like to have good promotion for both the chain reaction and the Ride the Lights on. So if you let me know where you'd like them putting, I've seen one on the Middle Valley Way somewhere, one at Town Hall, and then one somewhere else. Just let me know.
Thank you. And Councillor Yates.
Yes, just sort of thinking ahead to using Smokies Way car park specifically, because obviously the last Stream Church car park will be is always closed and nobody parks on there overnight. It does get a little bit of use. It doesn't get a lot of use overnight. So I think a notice to give advance warning that the car park will be closed, and I suggest the barrier goes across. I think there is a standing instruction down there that the barrier is closed from dusk, so to speak. So the fact that it is just non-consequential in some respects. So people can't expect to park there. And there's certainly plenty of on-road parking around for the odd resident who goes there. So I don't think there'd be much of an inconvenience, so to speak, for a couple of hours. But it would be a shame if cars were sprinkled all over the place and made it look like all for whatever you're setting up there to meet and greet, so to speak. But a good 10 days warning, and perhaps keep refreshing. I can keep refreshing the signs if you give me a supply from just up the road. Then we'll do that, and I'll fend off any angry natives.
Thank you very much. Good point. Cheers. Okay, anyone else for that item? Right, Christmas activities then, please.
Thank you. So the events working group had some discussions about Christmas. So obviously we've got the town centre activities, which will take place on Saturday, the 29th of November. We have, as things stand, completed all the paperwork that's necessary to handle things off lampposts and off buildings and take power from various bits of the town. So that's where we need it to be. The finance meeting next week will approve, hopefully, quotes for Christmas trees. We've spoken to Fair. They're happy to attend and they're available, which is great because that's what lots of our young people expect. We've got various different options for entertainment. We've got some quotes out for them, which we can talk a bit more about next week's finance. We've got Skane and Tribe and Staged, who are going to do some loveliness on the town hall frontage and keep everybody entertained till the lights go on and the big man arrives. We're looking at sound options for the high street. We've got a couple of offers for people who will be able to do that. So we'll have a conversation with that. And the market is going to be absolutely marvellous this year. We've had so many requests from people who want stalls, so it should be really lovely. That will be at the southern end of the high street, as it usually is, because that's where we get our power from for the nights. Anything else? That's it.
Do you want to come in?
Just going to say the free activities that we offer be outside the Conservative Club. Less there's room to put them on the frontage, but I don't have it clear.
Okay.
Yeah, figure it out, yeah.
We might have to, yeah. If we get a really fat tree, it will look marvellous, but we won't fit much else around it.
Councillor Proudlove.
Thank you, Chair. It's been mentioned to me that Morelands Radio would love to be involved in the Christmas event, if possible.
You put me and Mum down for the kitchen again, and I think it's a really good shout that you usually overcoat it because it really helps the queue for Santa. So, and last year we had a few people ask us for hot drinks from inside, which we just did, but we hadn't planned to. But I'm quite happy to do that. They were well, we did it for free last year, so I don't know if you want to do it for free again, but I'm quite happy to make brews. So that's it.
Thank you.
It's all right. Anyone else for that one? No. Civic Awards date.
Yes, we simply ran out of time amongst all the other things going on over the past few weeks to ask people for their nominations with regards to the Civic Awards. We slotted a few more events into the calendar, which hampered that, and then the availability of the room downstairs. We also had some discussions again at the events working group, but within the team about whether to change the format of the Civic Awards slightly. There were a lot of people last year who received certificates and thank yous for their activities. And we thought about a different format this time. So we've allocated the 28th of Feb next year for the Civic Awards event. We're thinking we'll probably do this through the events working group if you think that's appropriate, but we'll re-look at the categories that people could be nominated in, but actually we'll also provide an afternoon tea for people as well, so that everybody who is a volunteer or a representative of a group that have volunteers gets some sort of recognition and a thank you for the work that they do. So we're just working up the format of that, but we wanted to get that date in the calendar so that we could kind of work towards it, make sure we give people lots of opportunity to recommend and to nominate people for the various awards and to make sure we get all the right people there as well.
Thank you. Anyone on that? Nope. Okay, next item is 33, Councillor Lawton. I'll hand over to you.
No, it's Anne Lawton.
Oh,
No.
wrong. I've like ruined your big moment and everything. Okay, off you go.
You want me just to do a quick resume of what it's about?
Yeah.
Everybody. So I had an idea about 2.5 years ago to set up what's called a men's shed. Men's Association started a few years ago. It's a local social group aimed at, not exclusively, but aimed at guys who are coming towards and who have recently retired. It's felt that when men come to retire, they lose a lot of their social circle because it's based on work. They tend to lose that, become very isolated. So Men's Shed was set up originally aimed at that group of people. Currently, my last look on the website, there are now 600 Men's Shed in the UK, typically with 30 active members in them. The Men's Shed is nominally a small unit with a few tools and a few basic machines where men get together, meet socially, maybe do a woodwork project, or maybe paint a bench, or maybe fix something and put it all together. So the idea is to get this Men's Shed running in Biddulph. Provisionally, it's been proposed that there is a small building behind the cafe at the Hideaway Cafe, the Hideaway Cafe?
Yeah, the Hideaway Cap, yeah.
So it used to be a store for the machinery that was used to maintain the local forestry area. That is no longer used. Town Council then transferred that to Biddulph Town Council. Yeah, so it's now heading this way if it's not already here. So really without the premises, I can't move forward. I've done a lot of research. There's a lot of resource available through the National Men's Shed Association. And until I can get a start date, I can't really move forward. I think once I get a start date, it's as little as a month to get it up and running and to get it out there in the public domain. We need a little bit of money to get going as well, but I think there's ways we can do that. So I'm looking, one, can we use that facility? And two, what sort of timescale before we can announce to the Biddulph public that it's open and available and up and running?
Is it still a part of the Royal Voluntary Service? Does it still come under there?
So you can set your own shed up in whatever way you want. Most of them set up as unincorporated charities.
Yeah.
So you need 3 people to volunteer to be on that charity.
Yeah.
As long as you keep the maximum bank balance below £5,000, and you're below the radar, but you are recognised as a charity.
Thank you. I'm going to let Sarah come in because I think you might have spoken to a while ago Councillor Charlie Smith about this idea, and Councillor Charlie Smith did bring it to council and she's raised it a couple of times. So can we update as to where we are?
Well-ish. The journey we've been on with that building is that we took it on, as you know, for a long-term lease. Well, actually not long-term for that, 5 years, that's not long-term, is it? No. Which actually is nearly up. Okay. We have been asking the district council if we can have that building. And solicitor advised, based on the documents, because that was supposed to be for a 30-year lease, solicitor advised that we should have searches completed on the building because we should treat it, because it had to be registered with Land Registry, we should treat it very much as though it was the purchase of that building, which is what you should, obviously you do if you buy a property. That then threw up issues as regards the fact that the drainage wasn't appropriate. But the district council had funded quite a large drainage project in terms of its kind of filtration system that they've since installed at quite high cost. So that then ticked that box that came with the searches for the lease. And then the solicitor has had some outstanding queries with Staffordshire Moorlands District Council and has emailed their legal team, but is still waiting for a response on those. So since I chased him, he has chased them, but he's got some outstanding queries, which is wrong. So as soon as the solicitor is happy with the response from the District Council legal team, then we can sign the lease, which means that we can start to make more structural changes there. The issue that we had, sounds like all issues actually, I don't mean it to sound like that, but there's a kind of a process of things that
why you couldn't go ahead with
what we need to do is the setup for the electricity within that building means there's only one circuit. And we very much, I think, felt that we needed to put an additional system in the place at the back of the workshop so that you could do your thing. The Hideaway Cafe could do their thing, and nobody's operations would be impacted by the other. Obviously, as a town council, we haven't wanted to do that investment in that building until it was officially ours, close to being ours, which doesn't give you any actual information you require, except that the process is still ongoing. The solicitors chase their solicitor. From my perspective, I would very much hope that this would be something that we would have resolved so that you could start in the spring. That would seem to be a positive time.
When the weather picks up, yeah.
That would hopefully give us enough time to do some internal modifications and to kind of go through that process. But there's a few legal-based stumbling blocks in the way before that.
I've got two speakers, but before I do that, so I'm summarising to say, yes, we would really support as a council the men and sheds, but we've just got some stuff to sort out at the Grange first. You know, we've got the storage unit up on the industrial estate. Is that suitable to start it off if we didn't get the Grange, or is that completely full and you can't get in?
Well, it's completely full because we've got, if you recall, the district council offered us loads of those.
Oh, okay.
So we've had all of their,
Right, okay, so we can't, it's not appropriate.
honestly,
then.
it's rammed,
Okay,
which is great.
yeah. So I think, yes, we're happy, but just hang on a bit. So I've got Councillor Rogers first and Councillor Yates.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it's most been said by the previous two speakers. Fully support it. Start today if we could. So don't give up. But there's stumbling blocks at the moment, which we will get over.
Happy to hang about. I think it's worth doing.
I do.
Yeah.
Just want to hang in there.
Yeah.
I think it can work for the council as well, because if this thing works properly, I went to, there's a UK meeting for the Manchester Shed Association in Worcester. And there was a presentation there about how they raise money. And over 50% of the sheds in the UK work locally with the council, town council, supporting the town council, and this town council then support the shed. So working right, it could help the local community. Seen benches being painted and things.
Can't think of a better location off the top of my head, but if anybody else gets another idea, please shout up to get this project off and going. But I think it's a perfect location when we get around these issues that we've got.
Councillor Yates.
Yes, I'm broadly supportive, and I can see the benefits, I really can. I'd love to see it up and running. I think I've got some fundamental structural issues with that building. I don't like the fact it's got an uninsulated asbestos roof. I don't like the fact that it hemorrhages energy, and putting another energy consumption thing and just compound the cost issues which we suffer, so to speak, for having that building. And I'd like to see a full package of a full refurbishment, but that's expensive, and I think we need a grant. We definitely need a grant to do that, and I'm wondering how we can do that with the current ownership with Staffordshire Moors District Council before the lease gets put over to us. The other concern I've got with the way the building is constructed and what it was used for is sound insulation between where the men's shed would be and where the cafe would be. I do sort of concern myself, and I think that's, again, I don't think that's unsurmountable, but I do sort of concern myself that if you're noisy in there, whether through machinery or whatever, you've got a relatively, quiet cafe going on with people having a quiet conversation. All of a sudden there's drills and banging and cluttering and what's that noise and this, that and the other. Again, I don't think it's a deal breaker, and I don't think it's possible to overcome, but I think it's something just to be commensurate of and concerned of, and you can do that, so to speak. And the final thing is inclusivity. I've been looking at the fact it's a men's shed. We have the same with anything, which is, I'd say the same if it was a woman's shed. It does allow you provision in the Constitution to have both males and females. It's just that the branding is men. Yeah. And I would obviously want the Constitution, from my point of view, want the Constitution to be as inclusive as absolutely possible.
So the UK Men's Shed Association says the same thing. It's already in there.
Some aren't still, but most are. But I'm just
there's
making
a big push towards mental health support and things like that. So take that on board. Just to say, I've never actually managed to get inside the building, so I don't know that it's 100% suitable.
Working there in January, let's put it that way.
It's just, I'm also aware that there is some energy generation. There's a turbine somewhere up there that's not working.
Again, point of clarification, I wouldn't rely on the energy turbine because it takes the reserve from the lake and it's probably got about 40 minutes running before the lake's
So
empty.
it's not 365.
Okay.
So there's stuff for you to look at there. So I reckon if you can organise a trip down there,
Yeah.
and
Like
have a bit of a wander,
We haven't got an alternative, so at the moment it's there.
it's there or no.
Best
And
of
again, for me, through the chair, one of the things which we're looking at is to have that as an exemplar of what you can do with renewable technology. So there is scope for putting solar power on there. There is scope for getting the turbine going so you can demonstrate it an hour a day, that kind of thing. There is potential scope for putting a little wind turbine on a gable, you know, which just produces a couple of kilowatts, and you wouldn't want that much. But it's got a perfectly safe, perfectly accessible, acceptable asbestos roof, but it's not, as a consequence, it's not insulating. The consequence, it's got a relatively short shelf life. It's ideal to get the building future-proofed and whatever.
Something we can work towards though. Right, thank you very much for bringing it to the table. And hopefully we can get it organised come spring.
You must disappear.
When it's at least 15 degrees.
That's why we said in the spring.
Item number 34 then is to receive an update on the Town Council's role with the participatory action research projects involving young people.
Thank you. So we did start talking about this at the last meeting. So Town Council was successful in the bid to Skivvies, which is the young people's group across Staffordshire, promotes young people's organisations. And the aim of our bid and our piece of work there under the Know Your Place project is to try and understand the needs of young people, particularly within our town. And so there are two elements of that work. We need to complete the research basically before Christmas so that we can analyse that and then send the information off in early January. And then beyond that, the hope is that the outcomes of those discussions will lead us to a position where we can trial something and then
Sorry, gentlemen, nip outside if you want to chat. Okay,
Chatting for
we were getting distracted. I'm sorry to tell you all.
so we then try to implement something in the spring and early summer and then analyse that. The project is called Know Your Place. So I wanted to give you an update on our thinking with regards to that. So Jodie and I will lead on that from the Town Council team. We are planning to speak to Year 7 within both Woodhouse and James Bateman and a selection of young people who are happy to be involved at Roaches School, and also have some conversations within the high school in a more kind of technology-based way. We're going to kind of do things with QR codes and voice notes and that kind of thing so they can send us messages. And hopefully do some face-to-face work with young people who are in the town centre as well. We'll use some fairly innovative ways of engaging with those young people, but the absolute most important thing about this project is it's led by them. So we can start off with a question and we can start to say, this is what we think, but actually if they take us off down a different route, that's equally as important as anything that we might have already asked them before. So the key questions that the young people steering group who've been working on this for a year have already set out are: what could make a place feel like it belongs to everyone, including young people? How do you want this place to be for future generations of young people? What things do you think young people should have a greater say on in Staffordshire? Are there things that decision makers or adults don't even notice about your life? And what would a safe and inclusive community look like for you? So if you want these questions, I've got some copies of these, but I just wanted to keep you involved along the way about the conversations that we're having. So we get a chunk of money for the research work to start with, and from our perspective, that will help us to pay for rooms if we need to hire those to talk to people. There's some quite interesting kind of aids that you can use in your discussions so that young people can be involved. All sorts of, Lego products, for example, so you could build your response. or, you know, you can kind of, even if it's just pieces of paper and, you know, post-it notes, but make the conversations much more kind of physical and so that you don't always have to be writing things down. Refreshments, bit of staff time for out of hours stuff. We are going to the Know Your Place Festival, which is on Thursday, and they've asked if I will say a few words about just about how excited we are, because we are really excited. We did a lovely piece of work in the autumn of 23, if you recall, which spilled out into last year. And that was around the needs of people who are over 55 within our community. So it's really nice now to be doing a piece of work with younger people as well. So if it's all right, I'll just keep bringing back information to you and let you know how it's getting on, and then share the findings of that with you as we move forward.
Councillor Lord. As you have the hand, Councillor Kasuki.
Yeah, will we be getting any feedback on what answers the youngsters have given?
Yes.
I think perhaps one of the questions that would be of interest to youngsters is what are councils doing to attract new businesses and jobs to this town, because too many people have to go out of the town for work.
Anyone else? Any council proud of?
Oh, planning committee, we've just given a nod to a nice little scheme on the high street, which is going to generate some jobs. So it's crossed. Hopefully we'll have some more good news coming down the line in the new year.
That's the eight.
Yes, just to reiterate that before councillor Garvey, who is the chair of the group, an economy committee at Stafford's Moorlands is that we are working hard on a number of projects to bring economic growth into the town and employment opportunities into the town, stifled sometimes by private ownership of properties and land and premises, but I can assure you there was a considerable amount of effort and acknowledgement that we need new business space within the middle.
Thank you. So just coming back from my knowledge base and just to close, the research is led by young people. You can't put words into their mouth. If that is a concern of young people, part of the project is ensuring that comes out from the young people's voices. It's really important that we don't put words into young people's mouths, and we need to hear what's important to them from them. That's the whole premise of the project, isn't it? So thank you very much. I think we're happy for you to crack on and bring us updates as and when. Okay. Thank you. Next item is item 35.
I'll have to move this on actually.
Oh, okay.
I've had a draft of 2 logos, but I've sent them back with comments and they haven't come back.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
if it's all right, I'll move this on to the finance strategy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because it would fit there as well,
Yeah.
I think.
36 is to confirm the draft schedule of Biddle Works Together activities and arrangements for the toy appeal. I can never get this from the right way around. Schedule or schedule, which one's the
Schedules are allowed.
are they both allowed? I don't know which one's the American one, so.
Schedule and scroll.
Anyway, draft schedule.
So I've got some copies of last year's schedule.
Okay.
If anybody knows, but I don't know what I normally say now. Schedule. Last year's schedule, if you would like to look at that, but
Or a shed. Or a shoe.
what I'd like to run through with you are the elements of that we as a town council fund. So the information that's in the emerging document for 25-26 hasn't changed a lot for lots of our organisations, because they now have quite nice, well-established groups at different times during the week. So I wanted to just run through the things that we will be putting on as a town council, some ideas that we've had, if that's okay. So we always do Feast and Flicks once a month. So that's the accessible cinema sessions where we have a lunch before people sit and eat together. It keeps growing actually, doesn't it? It's a really nice group, and then they choose a film to watch in the afternoon. So the hall is for that. So we're proposing to carry on doing Feast and Flicks.
What sort of numbers, I mean, you say it's good, what kind of numbers are you pulling on average, would you say, at that? That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And the really lovely thing about that group is they're really accepting when new people come, and they've got such a wide range of their own kind of issues. So some people come because they're on their own and they're lonely. And it's just nice to sit and have dinner with someone and watch film. Doesn't really matter what the film is to most of them. There are some couples who come, one or other of them will have dementia or a kind of life-limiting illness, and they get support from others within the group who do that. They're a really lovely group. It's a really nice thing to come to, actually, and anyone's welcome. You can come and have your dinner if you wanted. So that's really lovely. We give free room rent to Approach, who have their once a month cafe here. It's a carers cafe. There'll be some slight changes to that because of something that's come out from Approach, where they have said they can't provide warm food to people anymore because of cross-contamination and that kind of thing. We've historically, Biddulph works together, we've paid for the cheesy oatcakes. That's all it is cheesy oatcakes. And that's been quite a pull because people come and have breakfast together and they chat and so on. So we've lobbied to continue to do that, but we'll wait and see. But equally, we will still host that event.
Can I ask, is that because we haven't got a food hygiene certificate? Who prepares them?
They're prepared by people that we would always use for preparation of food. So they come in a container that's already pre-rolled.
I still think that even though we're heating them, someone from this organisation, from the town council, has need a food hygiene certificate, because we have. Oh, so we have.
Yeah, and their staff have.
So what on earth is the?
Well, we don't know.
Okay, fair
We've
enough.
gone back and queried it,
Okay.
and just said that we are still happy to provide
Yeah,
that as an option. We will, if with your permission, still continue to provide a space for that activity to happen. But we didn't think that the food element of that was something that was a real pull for people. So once a month on the first Friday of the month is Biddle Scratch. The numbers for that are amazing as well, aren't they? Jodie is sitting in a room rocking.
So Councillor Rogers has to keep finding chairs. Councillor Garvey came to attend and had to be rotated to serving popcorn.
I came and volunteered to serve.
Yeah, it didn't struggle too much, did you?
No, no.
I think one of them where there were 55 people, weren't there?
6.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, really positive.
Councillor Rogers just wants to come in then.
Yeah, just on that, when it first started, a handful of people were like scratching their head, is it worth it? But now we're struggling for chairs, aren't we, Jodie? It's about 6.
And it's nice because they are a different set of faces to what we normally see. It's really nice to be.
I like a plug, it's the first Friday of each month. If anybody's listening on YouTube, you can come along to it.
First Friday of the month, doors at 6:30 for the bar, film at 7.
Thank you.
And it's well attended.
It is, yeah.
People come regular.
We are very much in the planning stages for a new bereavement group, which we will offer free room rent for and then refreshments if needed. So we had some discussions about this last month. We've temporarily paused the bereavement group in the hope that we can provide support to a wider number of people. So that offer will form part of the Biddle Works Together programme. We will still continue, we think, to do films during holidays. So that's a free activity for families. Obviously, it's a suitable film and then a space, and we usually I'm just going to say what I keep saying.
We need to do a send session. We need to make one of them a send session, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
We will be going to be supported by an organisation to do that. So we'll chase that up in terms of their availability.
Thank you.
Just a point of information on that, the offer in Biddulph on Send has stepped up just recently. The youth zone has stepped up, and it has had a considerable amount of grant support to help that. So hopefully it is improving both for Send children themselves and for parents and carers, so to speak. But yeah, it's something which we need to increase. But we have stepped up.
We have wondered whether to do something as part of the HAF offer. So that's holiday activities and food. So with your consent, we'll look at that and whether there's a gap that we can fill here within the town hall and in one of the locations that we've got, just to make sure there aren't any young people that are kind of falling through the net there in terms of an offer. And it's quite a lot for much younger children,
Yeah.
and not always a lot of kind of teens.
Yeah.
So we're
And
looking
I
at-
did notice that the zone have launched an activity club, but it's £18, I think, in half term. And that's beyond the scope. So yeah, I think we do need to step into the breach there.
Okay, good, if you're happy with that.
Again, there is still a little bit of funding left from our mayoral fund, so for one-off activities and things, perhaps if it needs a little bit of grant support so that nobody is disadvantaged by that charge, then potentially we could consider that.
The final thing I was going to say is, on the previous year's timetable, we had an opportunity where people could phone us up, and essentially we would provide them with a meal that they could have. We call it takeaway Thursdays. So we wouldn't, give a massive menu of options to people. We'd say it's bolognese this week or whatever. Nobody ever took us up on that.
Okay.
And that programme went to every household that gets the Bill of Times, and it was advertised widely through lots of partners. So no one ever took us up on that. So we take from that there wasn't a need. We have been looking at activities in the evening, and Councillor Garvey has been very excited about, absolutely very excited about the possibility of having some sort of games night. So we note that in the town hall on the 4th Tuesday of the month in the evening, there is no one in there. We wonder whether we could offer a kind of board game evening with tea and cake, and if it, takes off the bar and, that kind of thing, and just see if that's an opportunity, because there is some criticism that a lot of these activities take place during the day. And there are groups in the evenings, but not necessarily three groups. So we're wondering whether that's the thing that we try this year.
So why not? Has anyone got any objections to not trying that?
How competitive Monopoly can get.
If I can.
Yeah.
Essentially, just picking up the initiative that we're talking about with Councillor Corley from SMDC about the idea of a board game cafe in the town. Absolutely an ideal opportunity. And when we talk about board games, we're not just talking about chess, although you can come and play competitive chess if you wish to, Councillor Parks, or competitive Monopoly, but also across a broader range in terms of traditional board games, the more modern board games, or even things like your RPG, tabletop RPG, or Warhammer type of board gaming. So it's basically to cut across the whole of the board game landscape, as it were, and hopefully to attract a fairly wide range of, fairly wide demographics, as you see in most city centre board game cafes.
I've got Councillor Yates first, sorry, then Councillor Parks.
Just thinking, where would the board games come from? Because they are particularly expensive, perhaps a Facebook appeal for board games that everybody's got loads in the loft. That would be a starting point. And again, from a funding point of view, just the seed, then perhaps, it's a smaller grant from my fund that give it as a one-off trial, so to speak, that kind of thing. So it doesn't have the onus on the town council, so to speak.
Thank you. So I think Councillor Parks is going to make the same point.
It wasn't that, I think, I'm just knowing that I have lots of them that have got all the bits in, and I'm more than happily donate, and I'm sure there's many others the same.
So Councillor Garvey quickly, and then we'll approve.
Essentially, Councillor Corley has a cache of board games from a previous initiative within, I believe, Leak, that we should be able to borrow and bring those across. Obviously, in a number of things, we're going to provide space, and people will bring their own, if you're the tabletop gaming type rather than a board game. But yes, there will be an opportunity. Hopefully, there's a funding available through the former mayor's grant fund to actually buy in some of the more modern, as you say, can be quite expensive items, but again, it's in the cross section.
Marvellous. Right, are we all happy to approve that that's an event for this year? Just has show of hands. Okay, happy days. Thank you.
In terms of timescales then, so I'm just waiting on the final changes from people about whether there's anything changed from last year. Then we'll change the colours, and hopefully that will then go to print at some point next week, and then it will go in the Bill of Times. So they want that by the 10th of November. So that should fit quite nicely with that.
And the toy appeal,
Oh yes. Toy Up Here will launch this week. We've got quite a range of partners involved in being locations, drop-off locations.
Yes, both sides. The hairdressers.
Yeah, hairdressers, yeah.
Which ones?
I don't know.
Have you transport?
Yeah, down Station Road, just up from the Methodist Church.
Both sides of hairdressers, TSB, and I think the late night chemist are interested in a conversation.
Oh, brilliant.
Today.
Fab.
And then
And Sainsbury's.
Oh, and Sainsbury's, obviously, sorry, sorry. And then I spoke to Alan today from the community sewing group, and every year they pick a community project to make things for, and they're making the most beautiful handmade Christmas stockings for children to put presents in, and they're lovely handmade to everyone.
Oh, that's lovely. Yes, fab. Thank you. Councillor Parks.
I just noticed that all those collection points were really quite close together. Is there anything that can we persuade anybody in the north of the town or then at the south of the town?
So sorry, Miss One, Becky's kitchen is the one.
Yeah. So, thank you, sorry. Have you got any contacts at Biddulph Moor?
Yeah, possibly. If I can inquire,
Will
yes.
you have ask a question for Biddulph Moor?
I feel fairly certain that probably the road and
Yeah.
absolutely.
Would you mind asking the question?
I will ask the question.
Thank you
Yes,
very
I will
much.
ask the question of the road.
And then maybe ask St Lawrence's Church if they would down the bottom end,
Yeah.
probably, do you think?
Yes.
Is that all right with?
I'm surprised they haven't already involved in that, but again, I can ask those as well.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it
we
might-
might need to check.
Yeah,
The
check.
live stream church are asking their congregation to contribute
Okay.
as well. Well, just they like to, they don't
Yeah.
need to ask them.
Yeah.
So that's.
Yeah, in
that's
case,
kind of-
yeah, it might go somewhere else, in which case.
But it's a really, again, as it usually is, there's a really lovely community.
Yeah.
Events, there's lots of community engagement there. So we get lists of people who will need support with Christmas presents via the food banks and via the children and people social workers who are here and social prescribers as well. So they'll all be supported with whatever their collection is.
And if councillors know of anybody, can we just drop you a line?
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Thanks for that. Item 37 is an update on the library of things.
Yes, we've spent a lot of money over the past few weeks on a library of things. It's made my eyes water, but we did have £4,500 from the county council, so we're only spending what we were given, which is marvellous news. We have bought lots and lots of lovely items, which we can have within our library of things. We've received now the disclaimers and appropriate paperwork from our solicitors. That's fabulous. We've got an IT system, which then goes online and people can reserve items that way. Is there anything else you want me to say? I think we're aiming for the first week in November as a kind of launch for that. I'll let you know just a little bit closer. It depends really whether we like the logo when it comes back, and then we'll get lots of printing done with kind of signage and that sort of thing. So it's all coming together very nicely. It should be a really good project.
Councillor Rogers.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I've always been, backing this project. We've always said about if anybody accidentally injured themselves, was that in the disclaimer? Yeah. So long as it says, yeah. I want anybody coming on us saying of it, so.
No, that's, I mean, we've taken, excuse me if I may,
Yeah.
we've taken a little bit longer than we thought we initially would, just because we wanted to get it absolutely.
Yeah,
right
that's
in
that
first.
I've been on the day one.
Yeah,
Injured,
and-
self-injured.
And I've emailed our insurance company as well to tell them that we're bringing this project forward and to ask whether they think we need any additional cover for anything. So we'll have that support.
There you go, as long as it's covered then.
I believe so.
We were just having a conversation the other day about a telescope. Don't know if there's any money left, but a telescope is like quite an expensive thing to buy, but might be nice to borrow. But kids might fall out of love with it after, a day. So
Yeah.
if kids could borrow, anyway, sorry, if you've got any money left, just talking about
Well, we
telescopes.
We might do, because we've been trying to factor in the things that we've bought and then getting the VAT back on them. So
Okay.
there might be,
Might be a bit of money.
we have bought a bat detector.
I
for
saw
that
that,
reason.
yeah.
A bat detector.
The frequencies, so you can
Yeah.
tell which bat you're seeing.
Not that.
Fab. That's wonderful. to do that.
Thank you.
Come on, so
Yeah.
thank you. Come on, councillor Garvey. To receive an update on cooperative councils projects.
Thank you. Another verbal update. Thank you for your support with that. So as you know, we are a member of the cooperative councils, and we are going towards the end of our first year with that. It's a really nice group to be involved in. They have some lovely cooperative projects, good projects that are developed together to kind of come up with ideas, solutions, analysis of current issues. We've been approached by another town council who is interested in putting together a project group, which would be other town and parish councils who are members of the cooperative councils network, to look at the impact of devolution and local government reorganisation and the way that that's managed. And it's very much a project where we would all kind of work and kind of learn how that works and do a piece of research that could then be shared for future kind of discussions. It's called a policy lab. There is some funding attached to that, but we haven't really had the opportunity to be involved in these before. And I'm quite keen to be involved because I think that would be a really interesting piece of work to be involved in, and to potentially lead some good practice there. So it's I just really in the first instance want to know whether you are happy for me to kind of move forward with this, try and understand it a bit more, and then potentially work on this piece of research with other members who are, as I say, in a similar situation.
Are we all happy for the chief officer to crack on? Can we have a raise of hands? Let's crack on.
Fab, I will. Well, I'll come back to you with more information, but as I said, not going down a route without having had that conversation with you first. That's really great.
Some more good news then. UK shared prosperity grant allocations. Have we got some?
Yeah. So we've got a chunk of money allocated for Chinese New Year, which is on the 14th of Feb, which will be even bigger and better than last year. So we're very excited about that.
14th of Feb, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I've managed to get some funding for the cycle shelter that we wanted. And also the cycle kind of repair station. That's not what it's called, is it? But you know what?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
One for that. And also for downstairs, a monitor, so a screen and a frame that will hang it from the roof, which we've talked about before. Not necessarily have a specification for that, but we have some funding now allocated to that, which will make that our consideration of that much easier.
Okay. Good stuff. Thank you for writing the bids, whoever worked on those, put those together. The team. Brilliant. Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda then. Nobody wanted to come in on that. There was no hands on that. Just, yeah. Thanks. Let's crack on.
Noting it.
Fine, no, that's fine.
To agree arrangements for a business breakfast.
Yes, so through our local government reorganisation and devolution working group, we've talked about the importance of existing networks, but noting that we've tried a number of times previously to engage with local businesses with some levels of success, but we thought we would try to host another business breakfast within the town. We've tentatively put in the Thursday, the 4th of December for that. It's not fully Christmas time, but it is this year. Right, we didn't want to eke it over into next year because then you start to get terrible weather and that impacts on people's businesses and their ability to come to such activities. So we thought we would provide obviously breakfast for people. There is a new contact at the Staffordshire Chamber of Commerce who has a Staffordshire Morns remit, so it'd be quite nice to invite her along to that if she's available. But as I say, I just wanted to check in that that's something that you still want to work on. We've talked about it in a number of different meetings, but it's something that we've kind of put a date on now, and we'll work up some ideas for that.
Right. Thank you. Councillor Rogers.
Thank you, yeah. Something I've been involved with for many years with the business chambers, etc. I'd like to get this going again and volunteering to put some leaflets out for you to every premises, every retail premises in Bill, really. So put my name forward as a volunteer to help put some flyers out for you.
That's the case.
Thank you. I think I'm hoping to do a visit in our church. Normally, go to every little shop during Christmas. They need something. They make something. I think last year they made little angels and little bells. every year, and they put a Christmas card. So we distribute them to each of the shops down High Street. So I went along with them, and I think this year I'm hoping to do more visits. I'm hoping to visit every single store. So maybe I can help with that,
There you go.
to send it with maybe our church's little Christmas cards. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Anything else to say on that one? No.
Other than say that it's a very welcome thing to do, particularly in terms of the cost of the my other hat of district of growth and economy. I just think it's an important part that we develop the business community within Bill.
And I'm sure it's not just for high street businesses, is it? It's
No,
the whole
far wide.
the industrial
Yeah.
estate, up Biddleton and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Thank you. So I've neglected to say at the beginning of the meeting that I'm happy to agree a confidential item on the agenda regarding a piece of correspondence that's come through from the Architect Registration Board. I'd like the public to know that we've got an additional confidential item, but obviously we'll talk about it in confidential.
Yeah.
So can we all agree that they're happy to accept that emergency confidential item
Yeah.
whilst we're in public? If we're all in favour of that?
Yeah.
Marvellous. And then I will close the meeting now for the public section, and we'll go to the confidential section. Thank you very much.